Hey there. Welcome. I'm Lise Colucci. If you don't know me, I am one of the life coaches over at queenbeing.com, where there's all kinds of information to help you with recovering from being around a narcissistic person. So head over there if you need it, queenbeing.com. Otherwise, I'll get started today. We have a short talk here, and I apologize for not sending out any notifications today, but this is a quickie about plausible deniability and how the narcissist uses plausible deniability as a means to gaslight you in order to basically get a free pass and get away with the things that they get away with. So basically, plausible deniability is something that makes you look the other way. It makes you give a person a second chance. It creates a feeling of benefit of doubt toward another person, right? So we know what that's like when we are questioning whether the thing actually happened, whether what we saw or had the narcissist do toward us was real or actually did happen. And then when we have them denying it in such a way that it's almost believable, and it's almost like it makes it so you go, well, yeah, I can see their point. I can see their side. I can see why they did it like that. I can see why they think that way or why they feel that way or why they acted that way. Yeah, they're gaslighting you. Plausible but deniability is a form of gaslighting, and it's done a lot, and it's done a lot by female narcissists in particular, because the female narcissist tends to, not always and not only, be very cunning in their psychological understanding and the way that they use psychology to manipulate. There are a lot of male narcissists who do this as well. And in fact, there's a lot of narcissists who are have I've been talked to people who have had narcissists who are psychologists and therapists and doctors and people who understand and have been taught psychology, and they will use plausible deniability a lot because it's a really simple tactic. Basically, all they do is turn things into a question that makes you then question, or say things that makes it seem like what they did was not intentional. Excuse me. That what they did isn't intentional, and what they did was just sort of, well, it just happened. What do you mean? What do you mean I meant to do that? I didn't mean to do that. Why would I do that? Why would I mean to do that? Who would mean to do that? That's ridiculous. What is wrong with you? Do you really think that? Do you really think I could that is possible that I would do something like that? Are you saying that you really think? You see, it's these kind of things. They want to look squeaky clean, and they want to get a pass for the behaviors that they do so that they can get away with it. They don't want to take accountability, and they don't want to stop what they're doing. They plausible deniability. They will say things like, don't you think maybe it's your lack of trust that makes you think that I am out with other men or women, depending on, what they are, who they're cheating with? Don't you think I think, you've told me a lot about how other people have done this to you in the past. Don't you think maybe it's that's why you're questioning me? Do you think it's you? Because I'm not doing anything. And it's a deniability that you then go, "Oh my gosh, I do have trust issues. They're right." There's an element of truth to what they're saying when they're using this form of gaslighting that then twists your mind into believing you're the one who's got the problem, or you're the one who's seeing things that aren't there. It's a method to make you believe something you don't believe, which is what gaslighting is, right? So, is it Jack Lemon's asking if it is a especially favored tactic of the covert narcissist? Yes. Yes, it's passive aggressive at times. It is covert, very covert. Um, and communal narcissism as well. Covert narcissists who, by communal, I mean people who can gather people in a group or in a society around them to believe that they are an amazing and awesome person when really they are behind the scenes manipulating and gaslighting and treating their partners in the ways that we talk about here. So they will use it in a way. What they will do, let me see, I wrote something down here. One thing they will do to use plausible deniability in a group of people, um, by creating a persona and a mask that they wear in front of this group of people, they will do things like build you up to this group of people. This is preemptive. This is well planned. Okay. And they know that the shoe is going to drop because they know they can't hold on to a good relationship because they know in their minds that nothing ever works out for them because, well, they think it's the other person or they know it is them and they won't admit it, right? But anyway, what they'll do long before they start breaking you down is they will basically love bomb you toward other people. So they'll be in a group of people and they'll build you up in this group of people that you're this, so that and it shows how amazing that they think of you. Oh my gosh, look, they just adore that person. They just think that person's so great. They think she or he is, you know, they're just such a great partner. Look how much they build up this person. Look how the things they say, how loving, how sweet, how kind. When they decide or when the devaluing begins, whatever well, for whatever reason and whatever timeline that falls on, they go to that group of people and they go, "She left me. He left me." Who looks crazy? You do. You look crazy. You look like you just left the most amazing, supportive, understanding human being in the world. And then when they say, "Yeah," and she says, I'm a narcissist. He says I do all these things. He says I'm sinister and backstabbing. He says this, he says that, she says this, she says that. You look like you're the one with the problem. You see, this is all premeditated. A lot of it is it's an intentional, if it's not premeditated, it is so ingrained in their way of being that they automatically do it. So they're either planning this out or they automatically I think they always live with a fear of being caught and a fear of being known and being seen. So they're always trying to cover their tracks before the tracks happen. Does that make sense? So not so much premeditated as in plotted out on paper. What I mean by that is a method by which they operate that preemptively covers their tracks before the tracks happen. And that's where plausible deniability is perfect for it to fit that form of gaslighting to fit the situation. Yes, and then they devalue. Yes, yes, you got it, Jonathan. Hey, Nancy. Yes, calculated, but also maybe not even calculated all the time. Sometimes absolutely, and sometimes it's more like that they're so afraid of something happening that they just start. What would that word be like? Covering up for something that hasn't actually happened yet because they know it's going to happen in the future, or maybe they don't know what will happen, but something's going to happen. So they just, yeah. Okay. So another thing in a group is there's a malicious intent said to a group that only a few flying monkeys know, right? The rest of the group might be um, completely oblivious. So they might be cutting you down in a group of people, right? So say there's something that like a look or oh yeah, did you? Something they'll say that is just like a quick little thing. The rest of the group, because they've built you up and they made it look like you're this perfect couple or your perfect family or whatever it is, if it's a family or a mother or a father or a sister or a brother, and then they will say something that only you and maybe a select few people understand is toxic. And you're stuck in the middle of this group of people being the only one who knows what they're actually saying. And you see this in movies a lot. It's a good plot writing thing for movies. Well, they'll look at each other and you know that that person knows they were just attacked in front of a group of people and no one in the room knows it was an attack. And that's totally deniable because anyone at that party, anyone at that gathering or whatever it is, that group of people, if you said, "Oh my gosh, did you hear what they just said to me?" They'd say, "Why is that bad?" Right? So does that make sense? It's a hard one to describe without actual examples, but yeah, it's what they do. Um, let's see. Hey, Mystique. What else we got here? Anyone? A ton of covert narcissists rarely think consciously of what they do. Like when, yes, exactly. Um, okay. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. So Well, I have a bunch of stuff written here. I'm just gonna look at it and read it, and I'm gonna have to keep this short today because I have to leave here in a few minutes. So, basically, you're dealing with a gaslighting strategy to make you doubt right and wrong, to make you doubt the situation of what they've done as right or wrong, to make you feel like you're the one who has the problem, and then they get away with it. It creates the feeling of like, well, that's why we stay. When people say, "Why did I stay? Why did I stay when I knew what they were doing?" A lot of times it's this. It's this method of being able to deny what it is with a plausible excuse, with a plausible reason, with a reason that feels right. And then you, as a logical and rational person, think, well, why would I throw away this relationship over that when I don't even know that that's actually what they did? Because what they're saying, that makes sense. That makes sense. Of course, you'd give someone the benefit. Of course, you'd give a second chance. So it really does keep you stuck in the cycle, and it is so covert and so hard to catch. And usually, this is the kind of thing you see in hindsight. All right. Let's see. Um, okay. All right. They want to look, they want to look untarnished, right? They want to look like they want to believe the mask they're wearing of who they think they are and who they're presenting themselves to be. And so it is also a way of them feeding into their own compulsive lying, really. What they're doing when they are in denial of the things they do is they're compulsively lying to themselves and to you about doing anything that could cause any harm or hurt to anyone else. And they are it's passing the blame onto others or onto you, or passing the blame onto the oblivion. There was nothing wrong, right? There was nothing to be upset about. What are you so upset about? There was nothing that actually happened. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot I can say without examples or if you have questions if it happened to you, but this is kind of the gist of the plausible deniability and why they do it and how it looks. And the main problem is how it keeps you stuck in the cycle, right? It keeps you from, like, if you didn't have this going on and someone didn't say, if someone cheated, okay, and you couldn't actually catch them, but you just know. You have enough evidence that is not hard evidence, okay? You have enough hints. You've even maybe had someone tell you that you saw them out, okay? And you confront them, and they say, "Well, what are you talking about? I told you I was working late. I told you I was wherever. I called you from there. What are you talking about?" Don't you think it's kind of because you have trust issues? Your trust issues are getting in the way of this relationship. You need to go get help. You've got some serious trust issues. What's wrong with you? Go get help. You are ruining our relationship. You're blaming me for stuff I'm not even doing. They may not even say that. They may just say, "You're blaming me for things." Okay? They're not denying it for real. What they're doing is passing the blame of the situation onto you, and it may be 100% true that you have trust issues, that you have had people breach your trust and you have got struggle and it's very difficult for you to trust. That may be true. So then you're stuck in this loop of believing that it's you. They get away with the thing. This is why it's most important to understand, because if someone is doing that to you, then over and over, and there's enough evidence, and there's other things going on, and there's all these other signs of being a toxic person or a narcissistic person, it's time to see that this is gaslighting. All right. Sometimes it could be that is true if it is not a toxic person saying it. If it is, and they've got like, it's not just this one thing, is what I'm saying. It's this combined with all the other things we talk about here. And this is what, though, that keeps people, even with the most horrific, unsupportive, like, I've heard of people who have just the most unsupportive, yucky narcissist in their life that is just Like, if they weren't so trauma bonded, they would be looking at it like, "What was I attracted to?" But the trauma bonds are there, okay? And then this plausible deniability is their main tactic. They are so covert and such a vulnerable narcissist with this, like, pity party or whatever that makes you feel sorry for them or makes you feel like it's your fault. They're able to twist things around to point it back at you and deny any blame. It's what keeps that person constantly in question and constantly challenging themselves over leaving. So it is important to understand it and hoping that by talking about it, it rings a bell for someone and they can get themselves safe. All right. Anything you guys have today? I'm going to stop with this topic right now. I'm going to have to go in just a moment here. I don't have a lot of time today. I can come back tomorrow. There was something I wanted to talk about tomorrow here, and I'm going to wait for if there's any questions. If you guys have any questions, real quick, let me know. I see Jack has asked. Thank you. Understood. I'm working to understand how communal narcissists do blame deflecting. For now, Huffle Mama is just calling me out on any narcissistic fleas I have. How they do blame deflecting? Oh, this is one huge way they do blame deflecting, right? They set up situations so they are the good guy. A communal narcissist will set up situations so that they can wear a mask in a group. It's easy when it's not personal to wear a mask and pretend you're something. Okay, when it gets personal, that's when it gets tricky because too many lies, too many things to hide, too many slip ups can happen. But in a group, you can work the group. Okay, a narcissist can. They can work the group. Anyone can, but a narcissist in particular can wear a mask and make that group believe they are a certain thing with very few slip ups. It's only when people get close that they start to see it. So they can do that, and then anything they say about you becomes truth because they are so trustworthy and always what they are in the group, right? Does that make sense? And yeah, there's all other ways too, but that's a big one. Let's see. Please prep well for more discussions on religious and spiritual abuse. I'm struggling with it. Could you ask specific questions? That helps me prep because the topics are so broad. And that one in particular is so tricky to step into that I would prefer having um, a few talking points if that is possible, and just put them in the main comments, not in the chat, because I try to read those and write them down and get to them as I'm able. I wanted to talk about a couple things this week too. I wanted to talk about um, well, actually, let's just talk about this right now. They can project things into the future. Kind of what I was talking about, how they set up the situation to make themselves look squeaky clean and fantastic in a group. They can do that individually too. Excuse me. They can set up a situation where they look, um, for example, they maybe don't want you to date ever again because they want to control you and you break up with them and whatever. And so you have a kid together and they say, well, we're just never going to introduce anyone to the kid. Well, they know that maybe they're the type that is not that well, they all do something, but they aren't the type that's gonna do that anyway because they want to keep it separate because they want to use someone else differently. And so they know they can control you. It's like a smoke screen. That's a bad example, but they throw a smoke screen out there. They throw a situation out there that they want to happen in the future by talking about it in a way that sounds positive in the now. So they'll say, "Oh, this would be really good for the child. Let's do XYZ. That'll be great for the child. Let's have let's let's do our holidays together. Let's make sure all birthdays are together. Even though we're apart, we can do that. We're adults." That's a smokescreen for them to be able to control every birthday so that no matter what's going on in your life in 5 years, they're a part of it on that day. And they get control of the child on that day instead of trading off every other year or doing it in a way where you get half the day so you're separate. And you know that there's no parallel parenting with them. I mean, there's no co parenting, there's only parallel. So it's not going to work in the sense. So, but you innocently are thinking that's great, that's perfect co-parenting. Well, it's a smokescreen to get you to not see all the stuff they're setting up to happen in the future. Does that make sense? So that is kind of part of plausible deniability in a weird, like preemptive or premeditated way. But I did want to talk also this week about the helicopter mom, who is also a narcissist, and the over-involved, controlling narcissistic mother. Hopefully we can get to that, and then whatever else you guys have. So let's see. What age are they diagnosed? Over 18 for sure. I think over 21. I don't actually know the answer to that because I don't do diagnosis. It's adult. They don't diagnose children. However, that being said, I have had many, many clients talk to me about how a psychologist or a psychiatrist, not a therapist, a child psychologist has diagnosed their child with low to no empathy, possibility of narcissistic personality disorder. I've had it multiple times. I've seen it where they have not diagnosed officially, but worded it in that way. A lot of times also I've been told that sociopathy is often diagnosed as antisocial personality disorder in children. Not that everyone who's diagnosed with that is accurate or will become a psychopath, okay? But that it is people who have become sociopaths, people who have become sociopaths, diagnosable sociopaths, also had that diagnosis of antisocial personality as kids. So it's, yeah. What are we saying here? Anything else, you guys? I think Lisa's answer is as good as any. Yeah, it's hard to answer that because I honestly don't do diagnosis, and as I say all the time, we can't diagnose people here. All we can do is talk about the behaviors that we see that are classified as narcissistic behaviors. Okay, we can't say they have NPD. We don't know, and the chances of them going and getting tested are slim to none. So, I heard that empathy centers in the brain development until 25. So I guess once you're about 22, there's no hope. Possibly. Oh, somebody's at my house. It's always like, okay, you're done, girl. All right. Amazon? Somebody's here. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm going to head out because I have to leave anyway in just a minute. So I will talk to you guys. Sorry about the noise. I'll talk to you guys next. It's Angie's cat and my dogs. This is what happens when you work from home. See you guys next time. If you need anything, let me know in the comments of any video. I will help as best I can, give answers, or try to help get you resources or whatever is needed. If you need any help further with understanding narcissism, head over to queenbeing.com. Lots of info over there. Check out all the rest of the videos here. Hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe. If you need help with anything, I have coaching available. Check it out in the main description of every video. And just so you know, group coaching, it is ongoing, but at the beginning of every month. And I cannot believe I'm saying this again because it is almost the beginning of the month. I like to announce it as more formally. It's a monthly group, but you can join anytime. I just prorate the time. So there's no classroom to it. It's as is, as needed, individual, one-to-one coaching in a group setting. And for these kind of topics, for anything that's going on, any type of narcissist you've got in your life, or toxic person, or if you're just codependent and needing some help to get through that. Anyway, check it out. It's the group coaching. It's in the main description of every video. And I'm going to head out with that. I will see you guys maybe tomorrow, I'm hoping, or Friday. Probably Friday. But you take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.